All right, guys, I'm not going to preface this much. I'm going to get right into it and read what I got written down on my iPad here. So bear with me. It's going to be kind of long, but I'm going to try to be as thorough and clear and fast as possible. So here we go. I'm very excited. So let's get in that first. So it's finally happening. It's almost fucking over. We're all breaking out of the matrix right now. People are beginning to realize that it's all fake, and we're moving into authenticity just naturally right now. All of our systems are being uprooted, our government, our media, and how those things have affected our global collective psychology for years. All that stuff's being uprooted. It's as though a light is being turned on. It's as though a light has been turned on, and it's showing us all of our pent up shit, and it's just out in the open now. And that's like what's happening. So right now, the Ethiopian calendar year is 2012, not 2020. Similarly, between the Mayan and the ancient Mayan and Ethiopian calendars, they're built very similarly. And the Mayan calendar ends in 2012 as a prediction, and it foretold that great change and great awakening would be happening at this point. Later on, they found other Mayan calendars that continued, but not after the Great Awakening or end. Great end is how they made it seem in their cave wall drawings. So something is ending here. We are letting go of something. Things are being uprooted, and we are coming back to what is most humanly natural. So, we are now really realizing that unity is in fact the answer. Coming together is in fact the answer here. Separation is the biggest illusion that was ever created in all of humanity, I believe. In all of recent history, separation is the biggest illusion that was ever created. It's all inside of you. Like, there is no separation. Don't you know that? It's like, it's all in you. Everything is inside of you. We'll get into that more. And the systems that we've been living in are the biggest vampire energy suckers created ever. So, let's read it. Separation is the biggest illusion that's ever been created. And the systems that we're living in are the biggest energy vampires that were ever created. That's because they don't want us diving deeper into ourselves so that we may see that we are all truly one. That's what they don't want us doing. And I'll get into how it's the biggest energy vampire and the whole matrix and complex of how it's set up and how they maneuver our human condition to manipulate us. So, the reason they do that is because they don't want us diving deeper into ourselves so that we might truly see that we are all one, that we are all together in this, to keep us from maybe connecting with our divine intelligence and seeing the big picture for yourself. That's what they don't want you seeing. They don't want you seeing the big picture for yourself, because in your divine intelligence, you have complete access to all of your subconscious synapses and just programming. And As soon as an idea is popped up, our brains are so freaking complex that it took that idea and thought it all the way through in an instant. So when you're a young child, your brain is so freaking plastic and you're learning this world so brilliantly, brightly, and new to you. And you're making all of these connections about what the world is. And they take us and put us in this matrix that we all have to continue on and live in out of our control. And that's school for you and stuff. So, So yeah, continuing on to as to how they are the biggest energy vampires. This whole complex goes into this. Between every single divide ever created, there is one commonality between every single divide that's ever been created. The name of the level that is created, where that in between is, in between divides, the level that's created in between divides is something called anger. A word we're very familiar with, but it's a level of consciousness which is created when there is separation and you're on either side. But it's technically created in between. And they created this whole matrix and all of our systems and everything all around this idea of separation because they knew that it was capable. They knew what separation was capable of. And that was this we'll get into right here. Anger immediately leads to the harsh frequency of hate. This is the complex right here. Anger immediately leads to the harsh frequency of hate. Hate in capital letters. And then hate cultivates blame over time. And that hate is what they feed off of. Somehow, I don't really know. They are woke. They know what they're doing to us. The people that created this whole matrix and the people that are behind the scenes, that are running this social media stuff, that are feeding us all of this information that's making us blind to who we can truly be together. That's who's doing this stuff. And they created this complex. I'm going to keep trying to get back on track. So anger immediately leads to the harsh frequency of hate. Then hate cultivates blame over time. The first thing that hate does is like an action, a fierce action, which we are good at, not doing because we do love. We do truly love. So hate cultivates blame over time. Blame, when you're blaming the other side of the party, blame implies that we cannot control its outcome because it's an external thing from us. And once all of that is in the mixing pot, once blame on the other side, you went through the hate, you started at anger. Once all of that is in the mixing pot, it finally boils up to something called an antagonist mindset, where the other side is like the enemy. And they're an antagonist to our hero. This is the whole mindset. This builds a mindset that they are an antagonist to our heroes, and our hero we must protect. Then, when our personal hero is challenged, it gets angry and goes through the whole cycle again. The whole cycle. And it's a cycle of like, I must protect my side. Anger towards the other side. Then that leads to hate. And then that leads to blaming the other side once you couldn't really do anything about your hate. And once you blame the other side, you immediately confirmed that you can't do anything about it because you're blaming. It's out of your inner scope. And that's where you give your power up. You literally give your power up to this system if you follow this. And we have to take our power back. We take our power back inside of us. It's so simple how we get it back. I'm going to share that with you right now. The way out of this complex is so simple. The way out of this cycle is so simple, and it's so cool, and it's so amazing because we're actually beginning to just pursue this stuff naturally, given the time that we have with ourselves. It's all about just following your heart. It's all about just following your heart. That's how you get out of this whole complex and matrix that we've been birthed into. We didn't ask for this, but the way about it is we listen to our hearts. All human bodies are built differently through ancestral genes and stuff, and certain genes that we've been given inside of our bodies and the way that bodies are built gives us certain powers that we can create through our human experience. If we thought experience was the most important thing, then things would change. But they have us indoctrinated that other things like status are more important. But if it were experience, it would have been what I just said a second ago. So with all of our time, it's all about just following your heart. With your time doing what you are called to do. It's kind of hard to figure out what you're called to do because your heart's trying to tell you, and you got to be quiet enough to hear your inner silence. And you know, like working on personal development and like working out and stuff like that. We're all taking the time to take care of ourselves right now. And that's like literally the answer. Like, love yourself, baby. That's what it comes down to. Because like loving yourself, like people like, oh, it's selfish. Well, no one even thought that. But like loving yourself, it's so profound, because if you can find that human thing to love about yourself, then, wait, I think I say that here. So after a while of spending time with yourself, after putting down the phone, forgetting about the world, letting go of the daily shit we gotta do, we will find that if you can learn to love yourself for being a natural human part of yourself, you can love anyone for the same thing. Because that's just what it is. Like, you can, if you find that just most natural, raw, organic, gross, real, fucking raw thing inside of you that is totally natural to humans, if you can find that and love it, you can love anyone, because anyone and every single one is capable of experiencing that if you show it to them and if they're open to it. So that's the whole intercultural thing. If we all have one purpose that we're all striding for, we can start there because we all love that purpose. We can start there, and then we can work back into our personal loves, the things that we personally love, and we can share those experiences between others. So it's really all about following your heart. And this is the whole thing. There is no such thing as race. The way that we think about race today was created by a German scientist in 1675, about like brown, black, white. He made it as like Indian, Muslim, not Muslim, one of the Mongolian, Ethiopian, and African, and white, European, and then American, and then course, Chinese, that's what he called it. And then finally, the Americans were a different race because we were like inbreds of like a lot of the other races. And yeah, so, and whom that same German scientist that created this whole idea that they grasped onto so quickly, whom in fact later in life preached that he did not like that idea. And you can look it up. I don't remember his name, but I was just looking it up like a few days ago and I remembered it. I wrote it down. But this guy, if you look him up, his quotes, if you look up his quotes, he was known to not like that idea later in life. So there's no such thing as race, but there is such thing as racism. And that's what we're battling by loving, choosing love. That separation is the greatest illusion of all time. There is no separation between any of us. Every single human fallacy that I have access to, any other human also has access to that experience. Love will find a way, I promise you. Might not be today, might not be tomorrow, but it will be the next day, all right? Love will find a way. The experience of it will find a way no matter what. It's just the higher dimension. It's just what will happen eventually. Like, even if this undermining wipes out the human race, because we do have that kind of power, if it does wipe out the human race and we all buy into it, which is so far from what's happening. Like, we have been put to the test right now, and we're just expressing our most natural shit. We've all been exposed to the internet, which has exposed us to crazy amounts of information among all cultures, which has made us really fucking woke. Not even on purpose, but by that human supreme intelligence, the cognitive programming, which immediately answers all the questions that could have been asked surrounding one idea. That woke us, and now we're being put to the test by the people that are trying to undermine our consciousness. This is a war on consciousness, and once we've been put to the test, we're actually doing really freaking good. So there's no way, I believe, that we're gonna give in and end this world and end the humans. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think so. So that's all. That's all I wished to share. I'm listening to music. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Brothers and sisters.